So in today's Enlisted video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over some of the tougher tanks to take out in the game, as well as we're going to be talking about the types of ammo for different tanks. So as you can see right now, we're currently not playing Enlisted, and this game is called Warthunder. So Warthunder is a game that shares some of the same assets as Enlisted, as this T60 right here. But in Warthunder, we have some special features that hopefully one day comes to Enlisted, of you can actually see the armor. So you can see how much armor each part of the tank has, as well as you can x-ray view to see inside the tank, see where the ammo is, see where the driver, commander, all kind of stuff is. So this tool is really cool to use to see how to take out tanks. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the different types of ammo in Enlisted. The types of ammo are APHE. So APHE is pretty much around it. Once it penetrates, it goes into the tank and blows up. The APCR, which is currently not in the game, has a tungsten rod majority of the time, and it's made for penetrating more armor but sucks at angles. And then you have HE, which is made for killing lightly armored targets or infantry. Now there is some specialty rounds in Enlisted right now, like shrapnel. Shrapnel pretty much is a shotgun. Once it enters the tank, it spews out a bunch of like BBs and ball bearings and stuff. And then you have, for the M8 Scott for America, you have a heat round. And what a heat round is it shoots out a jet of molten, pretty much metal, into the tank, and it's able to penetrate a lot of armor from any distance because heat rounds do not lose penetration over range. Instead of using kinetic force, it uses chemical force. And then that is pretty much all the rounds that are currently in Enlisted, except for there's one more I need to remind you of. The Sherman right now has the AP round. The AP round has no filler, and once it penetrates, whatever it hits inside the tank is whatever gets damaged. So yeah, those are the rounds. And the first thing we're going to be talking about is the Battle of Moscow campaign. So with the Battle of Moscow, a bunch of the Russian tanks really do not have any armor. And what you need to be looking out for is ways to kill them whenever it comes to crew-wise. See, the T-28 has a bunch of crew, but the armor on it is really weak. Even the basic tank like the PZ-1C can kill this thing. Now, whenever it comes to the T-60 is a very interesting tank to shoot at because it has this angle right here. This angle makes it a very tough nut to crack, especially at a little bit of distance. The thing you want to aim for on the T-60 is this plate right here, which is a flat plate almost, and you want to aim between the MG and the gun right there, in that area right there. And I can show you that with protection analysis with the German PZ-3B. You see it just goes straight through right there, kills the gunner. And if you want to kill the driver, you just fire a round right there. It goes in, kills the gunner. Sometimes it might even, or kills the driver, might even kill the gunner. So when it comes to the rest of tanks for the Russian side on the Battle of Moscow, these tanks really do not have that much armor. So you're pretty much just able to center mass majority of them. The other tank, which is going to be very hard to kill, is the T-50. And the T-50, the reason it's so hard to kill is because of this plate right here. This plate, if you can see right now, it's angled. It's angled at almost like a 45-degree angle. Or no, it's at 53, okay. So it's angled at a 53-degree angle. And whenever you fire a round, let's just use the Panzer, let's use the 75. The 75's in it. So 75 has 52 millimeters of armor, and whenever you fire right in there, you'll never penetrate it. Even the lower plate is angled, so you won't penetrate it there. So from the front, this angle part is very, very hard to kill. So if you ever want to shoot at the T-50, the place to shoot at is take the gun, take the two MGs, and aim just a little bit up above it right there. If you fire right there, it'll go in and pretty much kill everyone in the tank. As well as if you want to, you can actually, if you have a larger caliber shell like the 75, you can actually just put it in this commander's cupola right there and then kill pretty much everyone in the turret. Now when it comes to the side of the T-50, you can shoot right there inside of the turret, but on side of it where it's at this angle right here, if you fire, you'll most likely bounce. Now with angles, the more you de-angle it, so as you can see, I'm pretty much like in the sky right now. It's flat, right? So it's able to go in and kill pretty much everyone in there. So you have to worry about angles whenever it comes to Enlisted. So if you're ever playing the T-50, you can actually angle this to where if I'm right here, the only place I could kill you is up there, or if I get a lucky shot into somewhere in here, which is it's going to be very hard to do. I mean, you can even get something right there, but it's very thin. So the only shot you can go for is technically that one to be consistent. So if you're into T50, just remember this little commander's cupola is one of your weaknesses. And if you're ever on the side, never shoot this thing there. Always shoot it towards the bottom of the tank where it's kind of flat and you're able to penetrate. So other than that, the Russian side is very easy to do. And now we're going to go on to the German side of the Battle Moscow. That is a Panther. That is the wrong tank for Battle Moscow. So with the Battle of Moscow, the first tank you're going to see for Germany is the Panzer 1C. The Panzer 1C is a decent tank. In Enlisted, it does not get this belt, which is the HVAP belt. And without HVAP, it has the this round, which is only 36 millimeters a pin. 36 millimeters a pin is very hard to use in Enlisted because not many things can be penetrated with that. The BA-11, the BT-7, the T-26, all can be penetrated with that, as well as the BT-7. But the two things you're going to have a hard time killing is the T-50 and the T-60, as well as you're using a 20 millimeter autocannon. So for the German side, you have the PZ-3, which has a little bit of armor. It has a 30 millimeter plate right there. I believe it's 30 millimeters at the bottom. So this one can stop the T-60. The PZ-3B is a complete joke whenever it comes to armor. 14 millimeters and 10 millimeters right there. Pretty much anything can kill you with this thing. It has no armor. Never expect this thing to have armor, except for it does have the 37 millimeter, which is okay in the game. This tank is probably one of the hardest tanks to kill in Enlisted, just because of it having a 50 millimeter plate. This plate is a little bit different, especially if you're in a T-60, because the only place you can actually kill this thing with the T-60 is on this back engine part right here. Anywhere else, this thing has too much armor and you won't be able to kill it. But the thing about the Battle of Moscow campaign is that the Russians get a wonderful round. And that round, let's just use the T-26 and put it at 0. This round messed up. Do that again. So if we take this round is insane. It's the 45 millimeter for Russia. And pretty much anywhere on any tank in the Battle of Moscow campaign, you'll be able to just penetrate them. If you want to see how good this round is we're going to be using this Panther G for the Battle of Normandy. I mean, not Battle of Normandy, Battle of Berlin campaign. But if we go take that same round, which is on the T-26, the T-26 can actually pin the side of a Panther at 500 meters. Like, I didn't even go down on it. So this round is insane whenever it comes to being able to penetrate for the types of tanks you're going to be shooting at. And the 45 millimeter is going to be really good versus anything you ever shoot at. So the only thing you really have to worry about is playing a T-60 and figuring out how to kill the Panzer IIIe and the PZ-38T. Other than that, you're going to have an easy time with Russia. So now we're going to be going on to the the invasion of Normandy. So this tank right here is one of the tanks that a bunch of people think that is OP, impenetrable, really good in the game. Now I'm going to show you guys how to break this thing. So if you can see right here, this tank has a bunch of armor. This mantlet right here is insane. This plate right here is only 38, and you're like, 38 millimeters, that's not a lot. If you go a little bit back right here, it's got a 63 millimeter plate behind it. So a lot of armor on this front. You're not going to be penetrating anything on this front whenever it comes to just center mass and anything, unless you get a powerful heat round, or if you get a powerful like 88 or a long 88 millimeter gun. Now the tank we're going to be using for Germany is going to be actually the Puma. So the Puma can actually penetrate this thing from the front. The Puma probably has one of the weakest guns whenever it comes to the Invasion of Normandy campaign, but the Puma can pin right here. So you look for this bow gunner and you're able to put a shell straight into it and you're able to penetrate the jumbo from the front. Now, if the jumbo is hull down and you're able to sneak a shot into a cupola up here, you can also get some penetration with that, but that's the hardest shot to make. So if you're ever from the front and he's showing his bow gunner at you, just fire right there. And you'll be able to penetrate it pretty much every time. Now, whenever it comes to if he's angled like this, you can still kind of almost cheese a shot into there. It's a harder shot to make. But if he's ever angled like this, you want to put a shot straight in between the track, the tank right there, and you'll penetrate. From the side, the only place you never want to shoot the jumbo is the turret. The turret is pretty much a no-go zone for every gun in the game right now. Just go ahead and place it right there on the side. Never try to go for the turret. That's pretty much the only rule with the jumbo. From the back even, never go for it. Just keep putting it in the side right there, or if you're from the front, hit the bow gunner. And you can do this with any gun in the game because right now we're doing it with the Puma. For the M8 Scott, it's really just put one straight through it, center mass it, kill it. Put one straight through it, center mass it, kill it. This one is weaker than the jumbo is, and pretty much you can just put a shell, like I just said for the other two. Let's see here, let's just use a Panzer 4J. The Panzer 4J is, for example, you just put a center mass shell right there and kill it. The only time you have to worry about a Sherman is if they start to angle you whenever they're using their gun depression, because at that angle you can sometimes bounce, but majority of the time you'll go straight through. For the Chaffee, this thing is a joke. Please lower premiums, Dark Flow, please. And then we're going to be talking about the Germans. So the Germans get the Panzer IVs mainly. You get a Panzer 3N, which pretty much has the same armor, except for I believe it has just a little bit more on the front. It doesn't really matter because the Sherman gun should easily just be able to go through this. It's 80 millimeters thick. So if you take an M4A2, we can even take the M72 shot, which is what the Shermans have, which is AP. You just place it right there in the center. You'll be able to go through every time. Except for if they're at a little bit of range, as you just seen, but that was at 500 meters. So hopefully you're never at 500 meters shooting at these things. You just put one straight here in where you see this plate where it's not angled. And if you want to, you can put one on the side of the turret right there and be able to kill it. The invasion of Normandy is really simple whenever it comes to anti-tank, because all these tanks are pretty much the same armor wise. The only issue is the jumbo, and like I just said, shoot it right there, you go straight through. So now we're going to be talking about the last campaign, which is currently in Enlisted, and that is the Panther G and the T-34-85. So the Panther G is a interesting one because it has probably some of the most armor in the game when it comes to the frontal plate, and it is a tough nut to crack for the T-34-85. I always use the 85E, same thing. So T-34 can go through the lower plate, but the issue with the lower plate is the transmission is there, so most of the time that will stop the shells. If you're ever seeing a Panther from the front, you can go through right there and right there, as well as you can go through the bow gunner again, penetrate it right there. That one didn't go through, that was weird. And you can kill all the crew, but mainly just go for the turret shot of up here. Shoot for the scope right there. It's an easy shot to make. And if you're ever on the side of the Panther, take the turret, splice it in half, put a round right there. You'll most of the time hit ammo, as well as you'll hit the crew if it doesn't explode the ammo. So the Panther is really easy to kill when it comes to Enlisted. Just never shoot anywhere on this plate unless you're going to shoot for right there. But really, you should just take these shots into the turret. Now, for the Russians, the T-34-85 is a interesting thing because There's two of them, but really the armor improvement of the other one really doesn't matter unless you're at an angle. So we're gonna take the weakest gun Germany has right now, and that would be the anyone just use Panzer 4J. It's the same gun. Panzer 4J. What you do is you never shoot at the driver's hatch right here, but what you do is you take the bow gunner, driver's hatch, go in the center of it, and put a round. And that one should pretty much just kill every single person in the tank. As well as if you want to, you can go for the turret shots. You can go on the side of the guns, but sometimes you'll hit the breach, and a lot of the time it will stop some of the rounds. So this is the Panzer 4J gun. This is weaker than the Panther's gun. So the Panther's gun can do all this, but just a little bit better. If you're ever on the side, just put one straight to turret. Or if you want to go for ammo, you can go back here. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic ideas of how to kill tanks in Enlisted and what kind of weak spots to look out for. I know this is not a complete list of pretty much every single weak spot in the game, because that would take a very long time and a very long video, and I know a lot of people don't have the time for that. And as well as Enlisted is going to be adding content regularly, and this video will be outdated very, very fast if this is not just a general guide on where to look at whenever you shoot at tanks. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.